Oh, a new email. Well, hey, at least I have no excuse not to churn out content now, right? Personally, I was all for taking the North Korean approach. In other words, killing anyone in the house with the virus and being done with it. And though this received a lot of support from those I live with, turns out something called the law stops me from actually doing that. My personal dramas aside, this weekend we had the Styrian Grand Prix to look forward to. And after France was surprisingly good, the stage was set for home heroes Red Bull to face off against their German rivals Mercedes once again. Hey there guys, and welcome to Self-Isolating FP1, the channel that still brings you race reviews even when I feel like death itself thanks to the good old COVID vaccine. As I said earlier, this week we had the second installment in F1's most recent triple header to look forward to, the Styrian Grand Prix. And before we do jump into the thick of the action, if you do end up enjoying the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We just surpassed 25,000 subscribers the other day, and a lot of you were saying we could hit 50 by the end of the year. Now, that honestly would be incredible. So if you are new and want to join the FP1 family, I would really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button down below. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get into the comedy review of the Styrian Grand Prix. F1 returned to the Styrian Hills then with rain in the air. After the false promise of France being wet, the weekend got underway with hailstorms hitting the surrounding area on the Thursday. I guess it was no surprise then that Friday's running was completely bone dry. That said, we still had plenty of action on the short Spielberg circuit. Carlos Sainz came out of the pits fearing his throttle was sticking, which, as Felix Rosenqvist will attest to, is not really what you want to have in a race car. Nevertheless, Ferrari were confident that their data showed no issues at all. However, how comfortable this would have made Carlos, I'm not sure, as typically Ferrari data is about as trustworthy as that Nigerian prince in your emails wanting your credit card number. Whether Carlos's throttle was stuck, we'll never really know, as he channeled his seat's previous owner coming into turn 1. Also having a spin was Alfa Romeo reserve Robert Kubica, who was taking over Kimi Raikkonen's car for some reason. Otherwise, it was a quiet start to the weekend, with the only other incident of note being Valtteri Bottas, who after 3 weeks finally managed to get past the Alfa Romeo that overtook him in Baku, and in doing so, forcing Jesus off the track. This incident must have infuriated the spinning god, because cut to FP2 when the Finn was round again, clearly trying to show off his drifting skills, which will probably need once Merc finally sack him at the end of the season. Jokes aside, the incident gained Bottas a 3-place grid penalty, and while I wasn't recording at the time, I feel this clip sums up my reaction, as well as that of Red Bulls, to the news perfectly.
It's falling apart. Oh, come on! Shut up.
Bottas wasn't the only one going round in circles, however, as Carlos Sainz made it 2 for 2 in his Ferrari, Latifi turned his Williams into a lawnmower, and everyone's favourite dickhead also had his trademark incident in the middle sector. But it was Red Bull topping the timesheets, with Max Verstappen leading both Friday practice sessions. McLaren would also bounce back in FP2, with Daniel Ricciardo setting a good enough time for second, making me and all other Ricciardo simps very, very happy. Until qualifying. My unhealthy obsession with the Aussie aside, AlphaTauri looked quick as well, after the team set the drivers up in an aeroplane prior to the weekend, and told Yuki they'd crash it if he didn't get his act together. Moving on to Saturday, and before the action even got underway, it was good news! The Russian Grand Prix was announced to be moving away from Sochi to St. Petersburg for 2023. Causing a shock situation where every F1 fan actually agreed with one another. That fantastic news aside, on to FP3. And this time Mercedes would show their pace, with Hamilton ending the session on top for the German outfit. Nikita Mazepin also decided that his spin on Friday wasn't enough, and so one-upped it coming into turn 1 midway through the session. And I could make a joke about this, but I've done so many in the first 7 races I think I've finally ran out of ideas. So, haha, lol, he's a dickhead. Right, let's move on. On to qualifying then, and the big shock out of Q1 was Alpine's Esteban Ocon, who repaid the French team's trust and 3-year contract with a lap only quicker than the Haas cars and Kimi Raikkonen. While Alpine checked the exit clauses in Ocon's contract, it was Verstappen and Red Bull comfortably leading up at the front. The team, like in France, having found that extra little bit of performance come the end of Saturday. Q2 would bring out more shocks, as Daniel Ricciardo struggled once again in the McLaren, finishing down in 13th while Lando Norris was a 10th off P1 man Perez. I'm told that Twitter exploded after this, but it's F1 Twitter, so I don't really give a shit. Meanwhile, George Russell narrowly missed out on his first Williams Q3 appearance by just 0.08 of a second. Guess it's just a shame that his race start will likely leave him down in P18 by the end of lap 1 as usual. Q3 was beautifully set up then, with a short Austria circuit meaning that the delta times between the drivers was the one thing smaller than Yuki Tsunoda. But it was Red Bull on a mission, with Verstappen setting a good enough lap time for pole in his first attempt. #Blessed was close in P2 for most of the session, until his final lap time was about as competitive as Turkey in the Euros. This let Porridge Man take P2 come the end of the day, though don't forget the Finn still has a penalty for trying to play bowling with the McLaren mechanics earlier in the weekend. Although Verstappen was fastest on Saturday, Mercedes appeared to have the faster race car, which brings us neatly on to Sunday's race. But before that, a quick word from our sponsor. Team Jerseys Pro allow you to design your own custom jerseys and hoodies, and have kindly partnered with the channel to give you a discount on their site. The process of designing is a really simple one. Just pick a design and style and customize it however you want. You can even add your own custom logo to really make the design your own. Given that we're into the summer, or if hoodies just aren't your cup of tea, then the website also allows for the customization of shorts and shirts as well, giving you an even larger range to choose from. I couldn't resist the temptation and had a go myself, and the end result really came out quite well. The overall quality of the product was really nice, and the hoodie is incredibly comfortable to wear. You can also get 10% off of your order and help support the channel by using the code FP1WILL when you get to checkout. And finally, as a little side note, as this video goes out, there's a really big sale going on over on their site, meaning that if you're interested in any of the products you see in the video, now is the best time to hop over and have a look yourself. So if you like what you see or want to help support me and the channel, then you can find links to their website down in the description of this video. But anyway, on to the race. So remember those weather forecasts? You know, the ones that said thunderstorms, lightning, and pretty much how the whole apocalypse were meant to hit the circuit on Sunday. But where the were they? To the surprise of, well, no one, bar maybe the Sky presenting team, we were greeted with a bone-dry track. Until after the race, of course. But nevertheless, we got underway in Styria, with the front two getting an even getaway and Verstappen cutting off Lewis into turn 1. Charles Leclerc wanted to make a better start to the race than he did last time he was in Austria, and in fairness to him, he was quicker in one aspect. That aspect, however, was crashing, as he clipped the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly, leading him to treat turn 3 like he was playing Wreckfest, spinning Jesus and also causing damage to Nicholas Latifi. Further back, miraculously, George Russell had made a good start in the Williams, avoiding the drama and sitting comfortably in the top 10, while Ricciardo also made up ground after his poor Saturday. This form sadly wouldn't last, however, as he suffered a power loss, placing him right back where he started again. His teammate Lando Norris seemed to be struggling as well, putting up little fight when it came to Perez and Porridge Man. It was all working well for George Russell though, who was now closing in on the Alpine of Alonso, making me honestly wonder if I'd fallen into some alternate reality. Mine, alongside everyone else's dreams, were crushed though, when a pressure issue caused a slow stop and his eventual retirement from the race.
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Up at the front though, it was all kicking off, with Verstappen and Hamilton fighting tooth and nail for the lead of the race. And that's the sentence I wish I could have said here. No, instead it was just both of them claiming about problems with their cars, especially Verstappen, who kept claiming he had a brake-by-wire issue yet was still lapping quicker than Lewis. And while the Sky broadcast brought up the non-existent threat of rain to try and keep their viewing numbers up, Charles Leclerc was the one driver saving the race from being a complete and utter borefest. Despite a, shall we say, difficult start to the race, Leclerc ended up on the faster medium compound of tyres at the end, cutting back through the pack and ending up in the top 10 by the flag. Sergio Perez had fallen behind Bottas due to a slow stop from Red Bull. However, he made use of a new set of tyres, and Bottas' apparent inability to lap anybody else, to catch back up again. Give him another lap, and I think he probably would have made it to the podium. But in the end, Valtteri held on to take P3, behind Hamilton and race winner Max Verstappen. So then, after all that, well, it really wasn't a race for the history books, was it? And given that we're back here again next week for the actual Austrian Grand Prix, let's just hope that the rain does show up, or the cars maybe just fall apart again like they did last year. Either way, that was my take, so now it's down to you guys in the comments. Let me know what you thought, and if you could see anything different happening next time out. And as I said at the start, if you enjoyed and want to see even more, please do click on that big red subscribe button and like the video. The support on these comedy reviews is always amazing, so thank you so much for all of it. It really does mean a lot to me. And if for some reason you want to hear even more from me, then you can also drop me a follow over on Twitter and join our Discord community. All links for that you can find down in the description below. That's all from me then. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next one.